Welcome to Everyday Woman. The hardest thing to think about money is after an emotional crisis such as divorce or illness. So we have Emily Chase Smith. She's an entrepreneur and money expert here to talk about when you have a crisis in your life. The last thing you want to be talking about is your money. So what are the step-by-step that people need to think about when they have a crisis?
Well, a crisis is usually something that's going to be persistent. So it's not something that's just going to be a blip in the radar and then it's going to go on as before. Something has changed drastically in your life. And so it's hard. If you have the ability to just sit tight for about a year without making any major decisions, selling houses, selling assets, that kind of thing, that's fantastic. Now,
Fantastic. That doesn't quite happen, huh?
Most people don't have that luxury. I mean, usually when you're in the middle of a crisis, it's because something's changed and
crisis means now.
Exactly. We have issues
Red
to
alert,
deal with. Yeah. So the bottom line is you want to try and get to your baseline. So you need food and shelter. Most places you need a vehicle to move around. So you kind of need to prioritize and look at your puzzle pieces and say, these are the ones I absolutely need to just continue existing. And these are the ones I'm just going to put on the back burner for right now.
And what are some of those back burner things? What are some things that people think are on the front burner but really should be on the back burner?
You know, one of my big things is the house. So the house always looms large. So because if you were married and now you're getting a divorce or your spouse has died, you've got this house, and usually it's predicated on the fact that you have two incomes. So now you've got this house payment and you have only one income, and if you're in an emotional crisis, you might have zero income because it's too hard for you to work too.
Yeah.
So that's something, if you can put it on the back burner, it's great, but for a lot of people, you know, the next house payment's coming up in a week or two, and so a decision has to be made. Are we gonna continue on with this house in light of this crisis, or are we gonna jettison this because we know that our life's gonna look really different soon?
And is it easy enough to get, you know, either an apartment or things like that if you're letting your house go?
You know, it's interesting. Most landlords care about income and assets. These days, because there's been so many foreclosures and short sales and bankruptcies, landlords aren't as interested in credit anymore. They really do. Landlords just want to get paid. So if you can show the ability to pay them, they're not so interested in your credit anymore.
Okay. And how do you just, you know, have to even start to think about emotionally focusing on money? Because obviously if you have a divorce, I mean, there's so many emotions going on that it's so easy to just be like, I'm not even going to think about that right now. I have too much going on. But, you know, that's not going to go away. The financial trouble is just going to get worse. So how do you suggest that people, you know, kind of get over the emotions that are more pressing for them and still take care of the finances?
Mm-hmm. It's probably something, because you're not going to want to, because it's not going to be usually good news unless we're in that situation where we can delay for a year. It's got to be something you kind of put on the list, just like, you know, doing the dishes, because it's got to be done. And you know, it's a carrot and a stick, but if you can show yourself the carrot of like how bad this is going to be in 6 months if I don't deal with this, it's just going to be in pieces on the floor, and I'm going to be in such a worse position for not having dealt with reality straight away.
Unless you need to eat that carrot, because that's the only thing you've got going on.
There you go. That can be fun.
Are there resources out there that people can seek out that do help people struggling?
Absolutely. There are divorce recovery groups that are fantastic. A lot of them are done through churches. A lot of financial people speak. I speak at those all the time. And those people can be good resources because they obviously already have a heart for people going through crisis, so that can be a great resource. And if you can get into some kind of support group too, like especially if you're a widow, if you can get into a grief recovery group, maybe you can find somebody who's a little further down the road whose spouse maybe passed away 6 months or a year ago and get some wisdom and some support from them.
Okay, well that is good to know that you're one of those people speaking out there, because I always wonder who's out there speaking, trying to get my money. But thank you so much for all of your tips. For more tips, you can go to everydaywoman.com, and we'll be back.